Okay, go.
My name is Daniel and I am unique. I was born and raised in Winnipeg, very Catholic family. Grew up going to church every Sunday, went to a Catholic elementary school. I had great parents, they took really good care of us. We went on lots of family trips. Childhood was good. Going to a Catholic elementary school was interesting. It was very small, so there's only one class for every grade. So you didn't really have much choice in who your friends were because there was only like 25 to 30 of you to pick from. Because the school was so small, there was lots of bullying I found, especially from people in my older sister's class. They would make fun of me as a kid because I wasn't exactly what everyone else was. Like I would get called gay on like a daily basis. Because I guess I was maybe more effeminate, maybe more flamboyant, I don't know. I was lucky because I could talk to my parents about it and they were supportive, and my dad said he was proud of me because I didn't fight back. I was bigger than them, and I think that was important because it's like, if you fight back, then what, you're not going to get anywhere. They're just going to keep making fun of you. I think I'd say probably around grade 10 or grade 11 is when I kind of figured out that I thought I was gay. Having grown up Catholic, for a long time, I was convinced that I was going to either marry a woman and just decide that was that and deal with it, or my other option was I was going to move away, and then once I was all moved away and settled in, I would call my parents and tell them. My mom had asked me a few months before, and I denied it. And then it was just after grade 12 graduation. I had left MSN open on my parents' computer, and I'd been talking to somebody, and my mom read the conversation. So then she confronted me about it, and I think had I chose when I wanted to come out, I probably wouldn't have done it then. I found out later that my dad would talk to my older sister about it and how he just didn't understand, and I was fortunate because my older sister was very supportive, and she would just say, like, you know, it's like how you like women, it's how he feels about men, and he can't change that. I came out in 2005, and shortly after I came out is when the Liberal government approved gay marriage. Having grown up Catholic and having grown up mostly watching heterosexual relationships, those are the things that you looked for. So I think for a long time for me, what I looked for was somebody that wanted those things too, somebody that wanted a marriage and wanted kids and wanted a house and all those things. And I sort of found it, but then it was a little one-sided.
I give you this ring as a sign of our promise. With all that I am, and all that I have, I honor you. You may kiss.
I think there were a lot of things at the time that blinded me, I think, from who the actual person was. And I think once you start down that path, everything's so busy and chaotic, and you're planning a wedding, you're planning everything, and you get so caught up in the moment that it's hard to step back and evaluate the situation. Like, definitely once you've told everyone that, like, oh, we're engaged, we're gonna get married, even if you start to question it for like a second, you're like, oh, I can't do that because everyone's invested so much in my life and this wedding, and how could you disappoint everyone? There had been some problems leading up to the wedding, but everything was always, oh, well, it's so busy and so hectic because of the wedding, because of all this planning and whatnot. So I think you hoped that it would get better after, because all that chaos and all that headache would be gone and you could just focus on living your life again. And it wasn't too long after, probably within a month after, and things weren't getting better. And then you start to question, well, now that all this stress and chaos of having a wedding is gone, will it ever get better? I was only married for 9 months, so it's not like, oh, you've been married for 10, 15 years and things are not working out now. It's when it's such a short period of time, you know that people are likely going to question, well, why did you get married anyways? And I think that makes the decision even more difficult, because you're afraid of what people are going to think and what people are going to talk about. So it definitely makes it difficult to finally come to that decision that you have to do what's best for you and decide to move on. But I think it just got to a breaking point where it was just, stuff kept happening that shouldn't be happening, and it was just, I needed to be happy for me. And I know I can't be a good partner if I'm not happy. Going through a divorce is very unpleasant. It's stressful, people are uncooperative, it's hard. It's not something that I would wish for anyone to have to go through. You definitely have to decide that, for sure, that you're not happy enough that it's worth it to do that, because it's unpleasant. I think I learned that I often will go out of my way to take care of other people while sacrificing myself. And I think it's learning to accept that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. And you should never sacrifice yourself for someone else. And I think a lot of people feel like if you say, like, you're number one and everyone else comes after you, a lot of people feel like that sounds selfish. But you can't be there for anyone if you aren't there for yourself. I don't know really what the definition of love in a fairy tale is for me now. I think I'm more open to different possibilities. It's not necessarily just going to be get married, settle down, have kids. It might be very different than that, and I think maybe I'll know once I find it, but for now I think I'm just kind of open to the idea that it could be very different, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be the same for everyone. I think if I found somebody that I really cared about and they wanted to get married, I think I would be open to doing it again. I would definitely do it on a much smaller scale than I did, but I would definitely be open to doing it again. And maybe if I found someone that I really cared about, maybe I would feel like I want to get married again. At the end of the day, I still think that I'm a caring and compassionate person. I still think that I value family, I value the people in my life, and I think that I'm a fun person to be around. I think that at the end of the day, even through all the mistakes, I don't think that that necessarily defines me. I think that I'm still the same person I was. I've just learned a lot from it. I think I would say my name is Daniel and I am unique. And I think everyone is. And that's what makes life interesting. My name is Daniel and I am unique.